Nashville Public Radio serves Middle Tennessee in many ways every day, including through this podcast. You can support it by leaving a review or rating, by telling a friend about it, or by contributing at WPLN.org/give.
This is the Nash Villager Podcast. It's July 18th, 2025. On this day in 1976, gymnast Nadia Comaneci scored a perfect 10 at the Montreal Olympics for her compulsory routine on the uneven bars. Up until that point, everyone thought a 10 was just a theoretical score. No one could possibly perform a routine clean enough to avoid being docked at least a fraction of a point under the incredibly detailed scoring system. In fact, that assumption was so widespread that the scoreboard didn't have enough digits to show a 10. The decimal point was painted into place after the first digit. So instead, they did the best they could and made the scoreboard read 1.00, trusting that everyone who had seen how phenomenal her performance had been would understand the true score. I'm Nina Cardona, and this is your daily digest of what's happening around Middle Tennessee with historical context from Nashville Public Radio, WPLN News. Earlier this year, another perfect 10 on the uneven bars made history in women's college gymnastics. Fisk University student Morgan Price became the first competitor from a historically black college or university to earn that exceptional score. She also went on to win the all-around national championship. It was an amazing win for Fisk, but actually, just signing Price in the first place was pretty major. When she was in high school, the gymnastics world looked at her as one of the biggest talents headed for intercollegiate competition, and any program would have been thrilled to have her. And Fisk's program was brand new in 2022. It was also the first ever at an HBCU, and it meant that Price could achieve both of her dreams, to attend an HBCU and to compete on the college level. Well, a couple of months ago, Price announced that she's transferring to the University of Arkansas for her senior year, while her team at Fisk winds down operations. As great as the experiment was, the university discovered it just can't keep the gymnastics team going. The money side of things simply didn't work out. Just down Jefferson Street from Fisk, another Nashville HBCU still hopes to make sports history by fielding a team that's a first for a historically black athletics. Tennessee State University first announced its intention to start up a hockey team in 2023. And if all had gone according to plan, the team would have already had a season of play under its belt. But not that long after the big announcement, state officials started to really ramp up their criticism of the way finances are handled at TSU. The university's entire board was replaced. The longtime university president stepped down, and so did the first interim put in place to hold things together. There have been layoffs. All of this, as many in the TSU community point to the state's chronic underfunding of the university. With all of that going on, hockey seemed to fall by the wayside. A coach was hired last year, but then we didn't hear anything for a long time. With everything that was going on, I think a lot of folks assumed the new regime just wasn't interested in going in that new direction. But those watching closely may have noticed that Coach Duante Abercrombie's name was never taken off the staff directory on the TSU Athletics website. And this month, we finally got the word that things actually are still moving forward for a hockey team. The plan now is to partner with the Nashville Predators as the team develops and to begin playing in the 2026-27 season. In just a few minutes, we'll experience a favorite cool-down spot on Percy Priest Lake. That's coming up after the newscast.
Here's the mantra I think about at WPLN. We connect the dots. It captures a mindset that our journalism is not merely about the latest press release or proclamations by officials. Instead, we can develop expertise, dig deeper, and look to history to understand what's happening now. I'm Tony Gonzalez, news director. When I'm planning coverage and editing stories, the best part is being part of a team that's curious about our community and invested in its future.
Here's the latest from WPLN News. More than 1,500 Good Trouble protests took place nationwide yesterday, including several in Tennessee. These demonstrations mark the anniversary of the death of civil rights icon and U.S. Congressman John Lewis, and protest what organizers call the Trump administration's attack on civil rights. WPLN's Rose Gilbert attended one of the protests in Sumner County, where Trump captured 70% of the vote.
It's a hot summer day in Hendersonville, and over 70 people are gathered in a public park to protest Trump and honor the late John Lewis. Hollis Rutledge is the president of the local NAACP chapter and one of the speakers. He wears a t-shirt emblazoned with Lewis's famous phrase, "Good trouble."
This today, to me, is not so much about a party. This is civil rights, standing up for what's moral and what's right.
Rutledge is a Gallatin native and says he's especially concerned that Trump's funding cuts to health care and SNAP benefits will hurt underserved rural communities in Tennessee.
It seems to be that everything that's happening is for the upper crust. And it seems to be that the people towards the middle or towards the bottom are not being helped.
Many people brought handmade signs, including 15-year-old Isla Beccaro, who holds a poster board with this quote from John Lewis.
"Let the spirit of peace and the power of everlasting love be your guide."
Beccaro says she's upset by how Trump's policies have impacted people of color, people with disabilities, and members of the LGBTQ community.
If I just sat around and did nothing and let the people in power do whatever they want, I don't think I could live with that. So I feel like I need to be out here and say what I believe in.
Hendersonville's Good Trouble protest ended with a song.
Good trouble is on.
Rose Gilbert, WPLN News.
Good trouble is on. I said good trouble is on. I said good trouble.
A man being held in the Davidson County Jail is facing additional charges for threatening judges. Faitun Shan Viryasiri has a history of convictions for assault and burglary. He was booked into the jail last October for probation violations, and now he's charged with a Class E felony for threatening to retaliate against the criminal court judge who heard his case. Prosecutors say he also sent more than a dozen harassing messages to 3 other judges, and that his letters included threats against the president. The Nashville Banner reports the Secret Service has been notified. Investigators are sharing new details about a fatal plane crash in Gallatin earlier this month. On the afternoon of July 2nd, a pilot died after crashing a single-seat airplane while flying from Hopkinsville, Kentucky to Cleveland, Tennessee, near Chattanooga. Investigators have learned that the airplane experienced a dead battery while refueling in Kentucky. That led the pilot to alter his original plans to fly over mountains to North Carolina, instead choosing the Tennessee destination. It was about 20 minutes after takeoff that he reported the engine losing power. The pilot told air traffic controllers that he would not be able to make it to the next nearest airport shortly before the crash. Tennessee families are finding out if their kids are getting school vouchers this year. The demand was high. Nearly 40,000 families applied for the 20,000 available slots. Chelsea Crawford is an executive director of the pro-school choice advocacy group Tennessee Can. She says the State Board of Education will sort out whether this year's voucher recipients will get preference if they reapply to the program in future years. But she expects more vouchers will be available next year due to their popularity.
And so what we will see this fall is when school starts, when we have 20,000 students taking that scholarship with them to a private school, we will generate 5,000 additional seats for the following school year. That assumes no legislative changes. One thing I can tell you is this program is wildly popular amongst families and Republican primary voters in particular.
Meanwhile, critics of the controversial voucher program worry that it will take money away from public schools. You can hear the full conversation about the new voucher program on the This Is Nashville podcast feed. Metro Nashville Public Schools is paying $6 million to settle lawsuits from several employees. 5 people who lost high-ranking jobs in the district at the start of the pandemic say they weren't just the victims of downsizing. Each says they were targeted by schools director Adrienne Battle for personal reasons. For example, one says she had complained about an elementary school Black history lesson. Another says they had recommended that Battle's brother be dismissed from his job as a basketball coach. District officials maintain that the layoffs were driven by budget concerns. The lawsuit has been simmering for roughly 5 years. The Nashville Banner reports the settlement is one of the largest ever paid out by Metro schools. And a correction to a story that we aired yesterday. We mistakenly reported the latest court hearing for death row inmate Byron Black was closed to the public. That hearing was open. You'll find more news anytime at WPLN.org. We are definitely in the heat of summer, and there's one spot that many locals enjoy to relax and cool down: Percy Priest Lake. located close to the Nashville International Airport, Mount Juliet, and Smyrna, the human-made reservoir draws a crowd as diverse as the fast-growing communities that surround it. WPLN producer Catherine Ruppelt recently went to a popular spot to check in with those who claim Nashville's lake as their own.
The Hamilton Creek Recreation Area is a pleasant spot at Percy Priest. There's a playground, picnic tables, and restrooms above a long grassy area that slopes down to a gentle shoreline. Just after 6 on a weeknight, it's comfortably busy. Groups of family and friends have their dinners set up, and kids are running around and splashing in the water. Aman Aziz and her husband and their 4-year-old son are here for their first time and making dinner at a picnic table.
Shrimps with meat, with chicken, with some potatoes, corn, mushrooms, and that's it.
Several yards away, about 15 people, mostly adults, lounge comfortably on towels and chairs with full plates and a steaming coffee station.
Oh, we are regular here. We love to come out here. We bring our kids. We just bring our food. This is our coffee ceremony. We roast our own coffee.
Keeping an eye over the group is Hannah Gerbretensai, who is from Ethiopia but now calls Nashville home.
This is the best place. You don't have to pay anything. You enjoy with the kids. I mean, why not? Every week or every other week.
Closer to the water's edge, friends Gabrielle Densford and Heather Mills are waiting for a pizza delivery and throwing balls into the water for their dogs Gus and Oakley.
Oh, just enjoying the water, enjoying the lake, letting him play out here with his friends and run into the water, get some swimming done.
Heather likes that there's always something going on at their favorite spot.
We see jet skis and boats. I'm surprised they're not here already because usually you get jet skis and boats all up in this little zone.
If they had been there a bit earlier, they might have seen Frank Leake, a whitewater kayaker who normally enjoys rivers with rapids, paddling across the lake.
What's kind of nice with Percy Priest is it's a place that's consistent, so the water's flat. You don't have to worry about currents and stuff, so I like coming here just to work on my fundamentals.
Blue Jay Miller and their dad, Alec, also just finished paddling in their flatwater kayaks. Blue Jay's is bright pink. Their favorite moments from the day?
Probably like getting to paddle on our own kids' kayak, like through like a lot of the rough, choppy waters by myself. Fun.
We get to like see lots of wild animals and stuff. Like there's another like heron right over there, and we just get to see nature and have some time together, and then we all splash one another at some points.
The sun drops lower in the sky, but there's still plenty of time for everyone to keep on enjoying their own reason for being at Percy Priest. Catherine Ruppelt, WPLN News.
You can hear more about Percy Priest, including stories of rowing, camping, and a reportedly 76.5-pound fish by searching for Percy Priest Lake on our website. We do this roundup of Nashville news every weekday, so subscribe in your favorite podcasting app to make sure you never miss an episode. And if you like this, you'll probably enjoy the Nashvillager newsletter, too. You'll get perspective from more of my colleagues at Nashville Public Radio and links to the stories we're following. Sign up for those daily emails at wpln.org/NashVillager. Thanks so much for listening. Let's make this day a good one, and we'll catch back up next week.